Hello, my name is Sarah Craney, and this is my food cooking video for Dr. Manar Alattar's Environment 160 Food Sustainable Gourmet. So the dish that I decided to make was mapo tofu, and it's a traditionally Chinese Szechuan dish made with Szechuan peppers and chilies, and it traditionally uses ground pork and tofu, but you can also make it with other meat like ground beef if you want. And if you don't want it spicy, you can make it with soy sauce, oyster sauce, and cornstarch instead of the spicy sauces, which is how my mom used to make it for me when I was younger, since it wouldn't be spicy. And I'm sure there's also vegan meat alternatives that you could use for this dish since it is like a tofu dish, and it's really easy to make. So initially I was gonna cook a burger since my project was on fast food, but I took a visit home for the weekend and it was only supposed to be for the weekend, but I ended up having some car troubles when I went home and getting stranded out there. This isn't actually a picture of my car, I got this off Google, but yeah, so I was stranded and feeling kind of sad and stressed, so I decided to make this dish that I used to eat a lot, and my mom used to make it for me a lot when I was younger, and I also got to make it with her, so it was a good experience. And for the plant that I grew in my food autobiography, I did the chili peppers. So this dish uses chili peppers, and it's ties in with my fast food project because I kind of talk about how fast food has been globalized and how the chili pepper was part of the spice trade, and it was when Columbus set up to find spices, and this is kind of one of the results of that in a traditional Chinese dish. So this was my finished product, and now I'll show you how to make it. So first I'm gonna wash and cook white rice, typically jasmine rice, but you can use whatever rice you like. So you're gonna need the tofu, preferably soft, but I use firm. And then you're gonna need some green onion, some chili oil, which I got at the Chinese market at home, and I also got some Szechuan bean paste, and I got a half a pound of pork, ground pork. Need cornstarch and garlic, ginger, and the green onion. So now I'm gonna peel and chop up my garlic. I got this little rubber garlic peeler actually here in Portland at one of the farmers markets. It makes it super easy. So now I'm just chopping up the ginger. And then I'm gonna go ahead and chop up my green onion. So now I'm gonna chop up the tofu into cubes. If you wanna make this authentic mapo tofu, then you're gonna wanna use soft tofu and never firm, but I had a half a firm left in my fridge, so I decided to use it. So I have my chopped ginger, garlic, and green onions. So now I'm gonna season the meat. I used about 2 teaspoons of rice vinegar and 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. These aren't exact measurements, but about a teaspoon. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add white pepper because it kind of makes the meat less gamey, and it's gonna add a little bit of flavor. Go ahead and mix that all around. So now I'm gonna take the cornstarch, and this is how we're gonna make our sauce. So I take about 1 heaping teaspoon of cornstarch into about a dish that is the size of 1 cup, and then we're gonna put water in like halfway of the cup, and make sure you always use cold water because if you use hot water, the cornstarch is gonna clump. And now we'll turn on the stove and get a pan with some oil. And on high heat, we're gonna add our pork, and then we're gonna mix that, cook it, and just chop it up into super small pieces. And now when the meat's kind of cooking and all chopped up, you're gonna add your Szechuan seasoning. I use the bean sauce, but you can really use any kind of Szechuan seasoning or any seasoning. I added like 2 heaping spoonfuls. And while that's cooking, we're gonna add our ginger and garlic, and then like half of the green onions, and we're gonna save the other half for later. So when the meat's cooked, you're gonna want to start adding the tofu, and You don't want to add the tofu too soon because you want the tofu to stay really soft. And you're gonna mix the tofu in with everything, but you gotta be really careful not to break the tofu because it's kind of like the whole point of the dish. So after I mix the tofu in, I'm gonna add about half of the cornstarch and water mixture, and you can always add more cornstarch and water. It's gonna be the sauce, so it's kind of how saucy you want the mapo tofu to be. So after that, I'm gonna put the heat on simmer and put a lid on. So after the tofu's been simmering for about a few minutes, go ahead and take the lid off and stir it around. Next, I'm gonna add some chili oil, and you can add as much as you want depending on how spicy you want it to be. I added about like 2 dashes of it. And after the chili oil, then I'm gonna add in the other half of my cornstarch and water mix to make the sauce. Well, at this point, I went ahead and tasted the meat just to see if it needed any like salt or pepper, any more chili or Szechuan seasoning. But I thought it tasted pretty good. I thought it didn't need anything, so. And after that, then it's pretty much done. You can go ahead and turn off your stove and get a dish to put this in. And with the half of the green onions that we saved earlier, we're just gonna put that on top for a little garnish, make it look nice. So this is how mine turned out, and I put it over some white rice that I was cooking earlier. And yeah, thank you for watching.